Imagine a nation where more people are behind bars than in any other country on Earth. A place where locking someone up is not just punishment, it's big business. This is not fiction. This is America. The land of the free has become the land of the imprisoned. But how did we get here? How did the world's largest democracy build a prison empire worth billions of dollars? Behind barbed wires and iron gates, a hidden economy thrives. A system fed by policies, powered by profit, and fueled by millions of lives. This is the untold story of America's prison system, where freedom has a price, and justice often has a hidden agenda. From slavery to solitary confinement, from minor offenses to maximum profits. This is a dark journey through one of the most controversial and powerful industries in modern America. To understand the prison system of today, we must first go back to a time when punishment and profit were one and the same. After the abolition of slavery in 1865, the 13th Amendment changed everything, or did it? Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, shall exist within the United States. That one exception created a legal loophole, a door through which a new form of slavery emerged. Former slaves, now free, were quickly rearrested for petty crimes, loitering, vagrancy, speaking out. These criminals were leased back to private companies, railroads, plantations, mines, where they worked under brutal conditions. This was the birth of the convict leasing system, a profit machine disguised as justice. And from that moment on, the line between punishment and profit was forever blurred. Fast forward to the 1970s. America was facing rising crime, drug addiction, and political unrest. But instead of tackling root causes, poverty, racism, and inequality, the government chose a different path. In 1971, President Richard Nixon declared a war on drugs, a war that would change the justice system forever. Police forces were militarized, laws became harsher, sentences got longer, and suddenly, small-time drug offenses could land someone in prison for decades. But behind the headlines of law and order, there was strategy. Nixon's advisor later admitted that the drug war was not just about drugs. It was about silencing political enemies, black communities, anti-war activists, and the poor. By criminalizing them, he said, we could disrupt their communities, raid their homes, arrest their leaders. In the 1980s and 1990s, things escalated. Under Ronald Reagan and later Bill Clinton, the prison population exploded. Harsh laws like 3 strikes and mandatory minimums filled jails with nonviolent offenders. Private prisons were built. Millions were arrested. The prison industry began to boom. By the year 2000, over 2 million Americans were incarcerated, the highest number in the world. And just like that, the prison system was no longer just a system, it had become an industry. Now imagine a system where more prisoners mean more profit. Welcome to the dark economy of mass incarceration. Private prison companies like CoreCivic and Geo Group rose to power in the 1980s and 1990s. These corporations struck multi-billion-dollar deals with governments to house inmates for a price. Their business model was simple: more prisoners equals more money. So, while activists fought for reforms, private prison lobbyists spent millions to influence politicians and preserve harsh sentencing laws. But the web of profit doesn't stop there. Inmates in the U.S. are often forced to work for cents per hour, sewing uniforms, making furniture, or even staffing call centers. The companies that use prison labor? Names you know: Victoria's Secret, Whole Foods, Starbucks, AT&T. Prison food services, healthcare, phone calls, all outsourced to private firms. Families are charged outrageous rates just to speak to their loved ones. One phone call can cost $15. A video visit, $25. Commissary items like soap and toothpaste are marked up by 300%. For the prison industry, mass incarceration isn't a failure of justice. It's a business plan. Behind the numbers lies a painful truth. Not everyone is equally impacted by America's prison system. Black Americans make up just 13% of the U.S. population, but over 35% of its prison population. Latino communities face similar overrepresentation. Why? The answer is rooted in history. Headphone Cue soft piano with distant echoes. From slavery to segregation to mass incarceration, the system evolved, but the oppression remained. After the Civil War, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery, except as punishment for a crime. This loophole led to black men being arrested for minor offenses like loitering and forced into labor. Fast forward to the 1980s, the war on drugs. Crack cocaine, more common in black communities, carried harsher penalties than powder cocaine, more common among whites. The result? Entire generations of black men were locked away. Headphone music swells emotionally. Families shattered. Children grew up without fathers. Communities lost their future leaders. Even today, a black man is 6 times more likely to be incarcerated than a white man. And once released, the punishment doesn't end. Former inmates often lose the right to vote, access to housing, and jobs. It's a life sentence, even without bars. It's not just a justice issue. It's a civil rights crisis. Prisons aren't just buildings of confinement. They're entire ecosystems where every movement, every meal, every moment is controlled. And inside this world, the human cost of America's prison-for-profit model becomes brutally clear. Overcrowding is rampant. Inmates often sleep in shifts, sharing tiny cells meant for one. Medical care is delayed or denied. Mental health services? Almost non-existent. In some private prisons, food budgets are so low that inmates report being constantly hungry, eating spoiled meals, or going without. But what's truly chilling is the labor. Prisoners work for pennies an hour, producing everything from furniture to military gear, even managing customer service for private companies. It's legal slavery hidden behind razor wire. Refuse to work? In many states, inmates face solitary confinement, 23 hours a day in a tiny windowless cell. And yes, solitary has been classified by the UN as a form of torture. Meanwhile, corporations and prison executives rake in profits. The more inmates they have, the more they earn. This isn't just incarceration. It's exploitation in the name of justice. And for those inside, hope fades fast. Rehabilitation is rare. Recidivism is high. It's a vicious cycle by design. As public awareness grows and outrage intensifies, one question hangs heavy in the air. Can America's prison system be changed? The answer is yes, but it won't be easy. Activists, former inmates, legal experts, and reformers are fighting on multiple fronts. Small Blue Diamond abolishing private prisons. In 2021, President Biden signed an executive order directing the Department of Justice to stop renewing contracts with private prisons. A step forward, but a small one. Many private prisons operate under IC and state contracts, untouched by federal orders. True reform will require outlawing for-profit incarceration completely, at every level. Small Blue Diamond ending cash bail and mass pretrial detention. Over 400,000 people sit in jails across America, not because they're guilty, but because they're poor and can't afford bail. Reformers argue, if you're innocent until proven guilty, you shouldn't be locked up just because you're broke. Some states, like New Jersey and New York, have already implemented bail reform. But backlash is fierce and progress is uneven. Small Blue Diamond investing in rehabilitation, not punishment. True rehabilitation focuses on education, therapy, job training, not punishment. Countries like Norway have shown what's possible. Humane prisons focus on reintegration. The result? One of the lowest recidivism rates in the world. In contrast, the U.S. has a 70% recidivism rate within 5 years. That alone shows the system is failing. Small Blue Diamond rethinking criminal justice as a whole. The prison problem doesn't start at the prison gates. It starts in the courtroom, in policing, in poverty, in racism, in mental health. Reform requires rethinking everything, from sentencing laws to how society treats addiction and mental illness. It's not just about reforming prisons. It's about transforming justice itself. Small Blue Diamond voices a change. Formerly incarcerated individuals are now some of the loudest voices for reform. Grassroots movements like #Cut50, the Marshall Project, and the Innocence Project are exposing injustice and driving real change. Some cities are testing community-based alternatives to incarceration, like restorative justice programs and non-police crisis response teams. And the public is waking up. Documentaries, protests, viral stories are all pushing the conversation forward. The American prison system didn't become a billion-dollar industry by accident. It was built brick by brick through policy, prejudice, and profit motives. And if it was built, it can be dismantled. But until it happens, millions will remain trapped, not just behind bars, but inside a system that profits off pain. America is the land of the free. But until freedom applies to all, even those who've made mistakes, the dream remains broken. The time to fix it is now.